Great journey, great journey, great journey. I'm going to change it. It's not going to be great morning anymore. It's going to be great journey because this is a journey that is great. So I am Nicole D. Jones, and I am just happy and grateful for another day. I'm happy and grateful for life. I tell you every week, I don't take you for granted. I don't take days for granted. So I am happy and grateful for you. I want to remind you that you are healthy, you are wealthy, you are prosperous. Everything your hands go to touch, it must, it shall, and it will manifest, prosper, and grow great things because you are great. You are created in greatness. You are created in tenacity. You are created in authority. You are created in dominance. All these things is who we truly are, our original DNA. We live forever. Okay, we're spirit with soul wrapped in this flesh. Our life is never ending. Our purpose, our journey, this journey will end. This flesh will go back to where it came from, but your spirit, it stays alive. Okay. And I know we've been talking about character, and today is a little different for me because as I was preparing for today, I don't know. I just keep thinking about character. All right. I keep thinking about lines that we need to create and draw in the sand. I keep thinking about, who we are and whose we are. I keep thinking about these things. Okay. And the revelation that I came to that before we can even put this thing, Miss Lisa, do you mind muting your line? Thank you. But really just trying to process and give yourself grace. Let me start right here. Because I know for me, I've walked a lot in guilt. A lot of this journey, my decisions have been made out of guilt. But I heard the Holy Spirit tell me that no longer am I bound to guilt, but I am connected to grace. All right. So the first thing is, even in us dealing with our character, even with us understanding and drawing lines in the sand and building standards, right? I want you to understand that we have to build them in grace, okay? And understand that this is something that we should always be evolving. So what we're doing now, and this is why it's so important to really understand who you are, understand where you are, and understand where your purpose to go. Okay? This is why I'm saying, even in this time, as we're thinking about, character, we're thinking about ourselves, we're thinking about what we use to kind of set standards for ourselves. You've got to do it from a place of vision. You've got to do it from a place of purpose. I tell you all the time, you are purpose. Your purpose of existence through this journey is to leave legacy and impact to the world, not just your immediate space. Excuse me, not just to your friends, your family, your loved ones, but you are purpose for the world. There is something that only you have and you carry that the world needs. Period. When you leave this journey, your name and your legacy and your imprint will be left thereafter. So we got to start thinking like that when we start looking at what we're allowing to build our character, what we're allowing to set our standards. And the only way that we can do it is to get to the root. All right. So as I was preparing, I was thinking about one of these weeks when I said, like, when you go to your original DNA, you got to remember that you're known by the fruit that you bear. All right. Your fruit is what speaks for you. What fruit are you leaving, right? Because all of us were created, brought into this journey with at least one gift, all right? At least one, because you are a gift. Let's just start right there. You are a gift, okay? So when you think about your original design and your original makeup, your gifts will make room for you. How does your gift make room for you? We are in a place where we are being the best version of us unapologetically, but we're doing that in a posture of submission and humility, not arrogance and pride. So we have to shift our perspective. What fruit are you eating? If we would go and spend our time and energy in the fruit that we're eating, we'll bear good fruit. And in the process of eating your fruit, your gift will make room for you. You don't have to put your energy into perfecting you externally. You put your energy into what you eat, the fruit that you're eating, right? I hope this makes sense, because this is all I got for you. So let's look at it, okay? So what are the fruits of the spirit? Because we're spirit. So what fruits should we be eating on, right? What should we be feeding ourselves? What we should be feeding ourselves is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Eat on love. Eat on self-control. Eat on peace that surpasses the natural understanding. Eat on the peace, all right? Peace and happiness are two different things, all right? I didn't say eat on happy. That's an emotion. Eat on peace. When we start eating on the peace that surpasses our natural understanding, we'll start learning how to weather storms in a better way. It's never what we go through, it's how we choose to get through it. This is Meal Prep Monday. I'm trying to shift your perspective, because as we're learning to build our character, as we are going through this journey to have legacy, we got to understand that what's left is the fruit that we're bear. What we're known from is the fruit that we bear. What fruit are you leaving? Okay? Because you're the gift. Do we spend time? All right, if you're a singer, do you spend time with voice lessons? Do you spend time, guarding your voice and doing what you need to, coating your throat, all these things? Absolutely. But that's not where our focus is. All right? Because even if you think of a singer, if they're smoking, it's going to affect their sound. If they're drinking a lot of coffee, it's going to affect their sound. What is it that you're putting into you? The healthier that you are, the more that you eat on the fruits of the spirit, because you are spirit, then the better your fruit is that's going to be left here as your legacy. And the healthier you are, your gift will produce it. It's almost like, if you look at the submission as you eating the fruit, it's going to birth out the humility. All right. That, excuse me, that is what this journey is about. So when you start thinking about setting standards for yourself, you also got to understand, as you elevate, your standards should elevate. But your standards should always be set higher than where you are right now. Okay? Always. This is why, if you're in your single season, be careful on how quick you are to date. Because you're going to date from where you are. But what happens when you begin to elevate? All right? So even in the dating scene, your standards should be elevated. Period. So as you're going through that journey, then when you find that match, y'all should begin to grow together. For the folks that are married, that might have, we might have locked in a lower place. You should still be setting higher standards. You should still be elevating. And then your partner should be lining up. Okay? So even if they dead weight, I'm just going to keep it real. They might be dead weight. But if you're eating on the right fruit and you're strengthening yourself, God honors marriage. The two become one with the third strand. So it's still, they would inevitably have to grow. Because you have the authority and you have the power. Okay? So listen. Love. We're talking about that agape love. All right? Not the man, love is so touchy because I feel like the word has been used so loosely that we've just dummied down love when love is the ultimate thing. But I think that we have love in a box. I'm talking about that agape love. I'm not talking about the love that turns off and on when I make you happy or sad. All right? That's not the fruit I'm talking about. I'm talking about that love that makes you die. All right? I'm talking about eating the fruit of love where you learn to die to your nasty self. All right? When you can die to this flesh, that the love of you, that the spirit of you can grow. I want to see the fruit of that. I want to see the fruit. I want to be able to leave the fruit where I can love my enemy. Yeah. All right. Joy. All right. The joy in the spirit is where it gives you strength. Joy makes you stronger. Eat that fruit. Well, Nicole, you don't know what I go through. You don't know what I go through. We don't know what we go through. But what we know is that the joy of the Lord is our strength. The joy of the spirit, the joy that's in your spirit, in your original DNA, it gives you a strength that surpasses natural understanding. When you can stop it. Hey, when you can start doing things that come from a place of joy, there's a different type of strength. We're not looking for the strength within our natural self at that point. All right? We're looking for a supernatural strength. That's what helps me every day, not to grieve like the world, but to grieve with hope. All right? The joy is what helps sustain me. When we start eating off the fruits of the spirit, when we start filling up and feeding from the place of the spirit, our tenacity, the things that we need to start going through this journey to have healthier character, it comes from the right place. Okay? Listen, kindness, goodness, gentleness, all that comes from submitting. You can't have those things if you're arrogant, if you're proud, if you're cocky, if you have pride, if you know everything. If you know everything, you can't get humble. Let me say that again. If you're already in a place that you know everything, you're not even teachable. So how can you learn and grow? Okay? We learn from each other. You learn from babies. But if you're in a place where you feel like, and you put limitations on how you learn and where you learn, you're going to be limited. If you watch a baby, you can learn a lot from a baby. Babies They got this, they fear nothing. They fear nothing. Think of a baby that's just learning to walk. Man, they all wobbly, but they just excited that they moving, and then they get to moving and they don't even care that they're unstable because they have so much faith in what they're doing in that moment. But if all we see is a wobbly baby, if all we see is watching this baby in fear, do you know how many lessons we miss because of our perspective? I'm talking about our character. I'm talking about taking limits off and being willing to shift our perspective. I'm talking about being the best version of ourselves. I'm talking about not looking anywhere else but to the basket of fruit. Being able to look at your basket, not someone else's basket, and inspect the fruit that's in yours. That's what builds your character. This is still Meal Prep Monday. Why am I saying all this? Excuse me. Because I want us to be able to, we always hear people talking about going to our grave empty, right? Giving out all that we are supposed to give out. But I don't know about you, but in my willingness to give out, I want all that's supposed to come to me, okay? Not because I'm doing it in a selfish way. The more that comes to me, the more I give. Anyone who knows me knows I give, all right? I'm a giver. But I also am understanding who I am and whose I am, and that there are some perks along the way for me as well, all right? I'm not exempt in the plan. You're not exempt in the plan. So I'm trying to be intentional to keep my perspective and my thought process and my mind where it's supposed to be. Okay? We're still talking about character. We've got to be able to go through this journey, setting goals, setting standards from a place of vision and a place of purpose. But in order for us to do this, we have to keep our eyes on us. Okay? Every day is predestined. Every day is preordained. Okay? There are no mistakes in God. And when we're able to be intentional on what we're feeding and filling ourselves, we see the fruits of our labor. Our gifts begin to make room for us. We don't have to do that. We have to learn to put the time and the energy into the right place. All right? Self-control. That's the biggest thing. All right? We got to stop wanting to control other people and situations and things when we have a problem with stewarding ourselves. Be intentional to be a good steward over your own soul, because that's the only one you're accountable for. All right? When this journey ends, judgment don't come to you about someone else. It comes to you about you. Period. And I don't know if we just have, I don't know what we've done, but heaven and hell is real. And you're going to one or the other. And the decision is made based upon what you do. Okay? It just is what it is. Man, this seems so heavy. This is why I did this different today. Because, again, I'm like in a place right now that who you are and what you do is so relevant, but you have to be in a place where you're willing to deal with you. All right? It's so imperative and it's so important. We have we have lived in such a clouded space that we need clarity. All right. And you got to start by knowing who you are and whose you are, which is why affirmations are so relevant. You got to go to the BIBLE. All right. You got to go to your original DNA. But as we go through this journey and we're walking it out, we got to keep a lot of things in perspective. Okay. So I'm doing this different today because I feel like, it's a little heavy. So I can see who's on the call today. I can hear y'all on the call today. And I want y'all to talk to me because maybe you agree, maybe you don't. But I want to know. And I'm saying this today because the fruit that you bear is who you are. So what does your fruit look like? And it could be good and bad, right? It's the things we leave. But we have to understand that we've got to work on our character. We've got to work on our self-control. We've got to work on our self-perspective in order for us to walk out the best version of us and be able to do it unapologetically. We've got to learn to submit. We've got to learn to be humble. We've got to learn how to die to this flesh. We have to do it. So somebody talk to me because I feel like today's a little different. Anybody?
It sounds really good what you're saying. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
When you say work on self-control, is that a form of discipline? Like for me, I'm at this point right now that I'm frustrated that things should be much better because God has blessed me with a second chance on life. And I'm feeling like I'm betraying him and myself because I'm not living my full potential after being blessed with this second shot at life after being cleared of stage 4 cancer. So now I get a list of things and then I get overwhelmed because it's like, oh my God, there's so much to do. So now I'm trying to force myself in a routine, but take it in increments because if I look at the whole picture, then I'm back at square one. So I'm really frustrated, and so like it sounds like a cop out in a sense because basically I'm pretty not in pretty good decent health to make a move of some kind, but I just feel so old I shouldn't be so lost at this age. So that's why I was just when you say self-control and it was something else that I was figuring you're going to repeat it. So, yeah, I'm simply been having trouble expressing myself. This is frustrating.
The first thing I would say is, when like I started, we've got to come out of a place of guilt and we have to be able to go into a place of grace, but not in a way where we take grace for granted or we misunderstand grace. So first and foremost, Yvette, the first thing I'm going to say is you got to take every thought captive. This is the thing, because I'm a survivor of stage 4 as well, as you know. And the first thing you have to do, like you said, in increment, you look at the elephant, but how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. We write the vision and we make it plain so that those that see it, those that are around us that see it can run with us. We know, and I'm paraphrasing, y'all know what I'm trying to say. We write the vision, make it plain so that those who see it can run with it. Because at its appointed time, it shall have its perfect work. At its appointed time. Our time is not God's time. So in order to remove frustration, we got to remove the pressure that we put on ourselves. All right? That's first and foremost. We got to stop being in one capsule celebrating two things. If we're grateful for life, We can't be frustrated because we think we're not where we're supposed to be. We got to make a choice. So when I say self-control, it's even controlling our thoughts. So if we're grateful for life, we're going to stay right there. When frustration tries to come in, we're going to take it captive. It's still a choice. It's still controlling ourselves because we've got to make the decision. Okay? When you start getting to a place where you're overwhelmed, it's because we got too many things on the table. Mm-hmm. That's when we got to learn to be still. That's when we got to learn to know that he's God. That's when we got to learn to take the pressure off of ourselves. That's when grace will abound. But we can't stay in grace and abuse it or pervert it. What do I mean by that? Grace is not a place where we allow ourselves to be in sin. Celebrating, and this is me, and y'all want to check me, you can, because this is how I feel. Celebrating God for life, but being in a posture of frustration is perverting grace, because I'm taking the grace of God and I'm allowing it. I'm misusing it. All right. And what I mean by that is, if I'm celebrating life, I can't be frustrated because where I'm at in it. I hope that makes sense.
It does.
Because I gotta pick one or the other. Either I'm grateful or I'm not. Either the grace of God is on my life or it's not. And I'm at a place, and if I'm yelling at y'all, forgive me. I'm excited. I'm not trying to yell, but I'm at a place where it is just that, it just is what it is. And when you get to that place, either I love God and I trust him for my life, or I don't. And if I do, anything that comes against me, I have to take it captive. God has shown himself to be a healer in my life. So a week ago, when I felt like illness was trying to take me out, either he healed me or he didn't. All right? Now, I had to shift my perspective, but that don't mean I didn't have to go through it. All right? So when I was at the emergency room and the nebulizer wasn't working, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I had peace, but I started having to remember, like, Lord, if this is about to be it, if I'm about to be out, you said unforgiveness won't enter in. So while I'm taking the breathing treatment, I was checking my heart, my subconscious. Have I forgiven? Do I need to be forgiven? Where do I need to repent? Whole time I couldn't breathe. But I had to stay in a place. Either I trust God or I don't. Either I understand that this journey's coming to an end or I don't. I had to stay in that peace. Now, all this was going on naturally, but this is what I was working out. My soul, okay? We can't do it being double-minded. If you're double-minded, you're unstable in all your ways. So how do we walk in self-control in that? We got to learn to take those thoughts captive. We got to learn how to die to this flesh, to this natural, that our soul will be fed from the spirit and our spirit will rise up. All right? That's what we have to do. And then we go from guilt to grace. God, I thank you. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have today. I'm feeling frustrated, but by faith, I believe that this frustration will go away. I'm going to be still in you. You know what? I'm grateful. I'm gonna meditate. You brought me out. Sometimes you got to think back. When I think of the goodness of Jesus and all that he's done for me, my soul cries out. So it's greater than the frustration. I was out of here. But in that place of peace, I said, oh, the enemy don't come with nothing new. Hold up. You tried to take me out as a child through an asthma attack twice and you couldn't succeed. You will not succeed today unless it's God's will. But either way, I'm going to do what I know I'm supposed to do. I'm going to check my heart. And then after that, I ain't going to lie. I just said Jesus, because I know, listen, the only way you get in through Jesus, I was sitting in there, Jesus, 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 Jesus. Because you'll bombard the only place that's the battlefield, and that's your mind. But you got to choose what you're going to bombard it with. Okay?
Yeah.
10:31. Listen. Today was different, but times are different. As we're focusing this week on our character, thank you, Yvette. I want y'all to take this scenario and learn how to take those thoughts captive. I want you to be able to start shifting your perspective, because the only place we're battled is in the mind. But there's no authority in it until we speak it out. Take those thoughts captive this week. All right? Learn self-control. Go into the best personal growth and self-development book there is. Go into Galatians. Understand the fruit. Take a dictionary and define each word. Go deeper so that you're eating on the right things. Because if that's your portion. If you learn to eat the fruit, you'll grow. You ain't even got to put a lot of effort into it. The more fruit you eat, the less frustrated you can become. And even when it don't look right, go on and eat another piece. Eat another piece. Eat a piece of peace. Eat a piece of joy. Eat a piece of gentleness. Go and be kind to somebody. It'll feed you from the right place. Okay? Yeah. So, I want you, everyone who's left, thank you for staying. Stay focused, stay humble, and stay positive. And when you're struggling, remember me. Remember me telling you that you are healthy, because there's 39 stripes that healed us. You can't find what you need in stripe 19, go to stripe 20. It ain't in 20, maybe you need to go back to 18. It's 39 of them that was taken for you. All right? You're wealthy because your wealth comes from within you. You're prosperous because prosperity is the minimum of your portion. Man, listen. Shift your perspective. Level up in yourself. But give yourself the grace without the license to sin to be able to walk it out. Use grace in the graceful way. Don't taint it. Don't pervert it. Don't use it as a cop-out card. But use it to cover guilt and shame that tries to stop you. How about that? Let's just place grace right there so that we can work on ourselves. All right? So, I am Nicole D. Jones. I'll make sure I have last week and this week up. And just allow that compass that has been left to lead, guide, and direct us, however you want to name it. Intuition, Holy Spirit, compass, whatever. Give yourself the grace this week to die to yourself and learn how to hear it so that we can follow it properly. All right? So I'm Nicole D. Jones, and I want you to continue to have a fantabulous rest of the day. Smooches.